Good morning, warriors. Welcome to the You movement. This is B. This morning, it's about 5 in the morning, and I was woken up and said, get in front of that camera ASAP. And so I'm in front of the camera ASAP. This is a Christmas morning message to all of you out there that finds yourself isolated and alone, or in an environment where you've created anew away from your original tribesmen, your original families, those that have walked away or have been pushed away from family. And what is family? Family is, traditionally supposed to be your kinsmen, those that understand you best. But for many of us who are on this crazy journey that we find ourselves on, those of you that follow my channel and resonate with my messages, have found themselves on the outside of their family units, whether that be just emotionally not feeling included or scapegoated and ununderstood, or in actuality being in a situation where you've had to go completely no contact with the nuclear family and or extended family because of the degree of abuse that you've endured. And the problem is that even within the nuclear family, the toxicity can't be or won't be addressed. And so the extended family props up the toxicity because they just don't want to address it or look at it. You know, any semblance of truth is denied. And in that denial is this whole system of gaslighting the individual that is calling out the truth. And I understand all of that. So today's video is really for those that have, for previous years, found themselves alone on these seasons that really exacerbate that pain and suffering of being misunderstood, of being mistreated, and of being generally just not accepted, you know, and there's varying degrees within that. You know, some people I know have gone completely no contact, and others still are in that energy of desperately trying to fit in and make it work and, you know, prop up their own survival within a structure that doesn't really allow them to be their authentic selves. So I fully understand where you are all coming from. It is a very difficult, very painful, very, very painful, because as I've talked in previous videos recently, I've been talking about the abandonment wounds and the feeling of not being wanted. And I understand that very much so in my own situation. I wouldn't consider myself having family at this stage. My nuclear family disintegrated mostly through death. Both my parents have passed away. And any extended family I had been so triangulated against my whole life that when in my spiritual awakening and in attempts to in attempts to reach out in a very difficult situation, I reached out to extended family in absolute desperation. And I was responded with being told I was deeply flawed. They're aware of my YouTube channel. Apparently there was a whole bunch of communications happening behind my back, ripping me down, as well as a whole bunch of thumbs downs started appearing on my channel. And that was the most communication I'd received from them my whole life. In all of my adult years, never once did any of them reach out to me. In watching my videos, not did any of them say, oh my God, I didn't realize those types of things were actually happening. They were at such a distance and I was so triangulated that, any concocted reality is the reality that they choose to believe, which isn't reality. I was there. Trust me, I was there. Even though my sibling has corroborated my story, and even though I have had external members of, people who are observant have corroborated my story, they themselves have not. And they obviously reject my reality and my truth. And that's okay. I don't care anymore. I really don't. There's a line in a Jane's Addiction song, which happens to be my favorite band, in the song 3 Days. And the line goes, I choose no kin, but I adopted strangers. This year, I had the joy of having a beautiful Christmas Eve dinner with my soul family, my soul kids. God has sent me people that are kind and caring and gentle and compassionate. And I had my first Christmas where there was peace. There's something that toxic individuals do, which is to attempt to cause chaos and confusion and problem with any holiday. And to have a peaceful Christmas meal where we participated in playing games and there was laughter and there was no tears, there was no alcohol misuse. Well, I didn't drink at all, but there was no need for alcohol to subdue the crazy. There was no raging. There was no arguing. There was no masking. There was no conflict. There was no, it was shocking. It was It was beautiful. It's going to be a new reality that I've worked very hard for. And I was washing the dishes after cooking a beautiful meal for my soul kids and just listening to them laugh at this. They were playing a card game. And it was hard for me to kind of comprehend the just peace. I can remember within my marriage, even decorating a Christmas tree would be stressful. Oh, you can't have this there, and why is this? And there's just, it was just, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to hop on and say that creating your own amongst soul tribe, amongst those that understand you, respect you for what you've endured. Because walking away from family is arguably one of the hardest things you could possibly ever do. It's not a decision ever made lightly, because you walk away when the stress becomes so severe that you are experiencing complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's the only way to survive mentally, emotionally, even physically, because where there may not be any clear and present physical danger, the stress and what it does to your body to be in such a toxic environment. Just look at my before photos. Just look at all of the survival techniques I required to exist in this world. Those aren't actions taken by somebody who has had a stable, calm environment that's conducive to thriving. An individual that walks away from family does so because the environment is so toxic, abusive, hurtful, that their physical well-being is at risk. Their psychological well-being has always been at risk. They have been in survival mode all of their lives. All of their lives. It has required masking or putting on the thicker skin. That's what my ex used to always say to me. You need a thicker skin. You need a thicker skin. To be able to tolerate the constant jabs and the backhanded compliments and the overt insults, the constant cruelty that was never yielding. And that wasn't because I was autistic, although I gave that a lot of consideration of, was it the fact that I was autistic that made people ridicule me? Yes, that was in part of it. I can see that now. I hold my hands weird. I talk weird when I'm not masking. I say weird things. So that was maybe a contributing factor. Was it that I was adopted and arrived into a situation where I required more needs? Sure, yeah, I'll take some accountability for that as well too. That must have been difficult to take on a child that had so much trauma and really required a lot more soothing and comfort than I ever received. But I'm not personally responsible, regardless of my autism, my sensitivities, my needs of additional support or comfort, my already pre-existing trauma. I'm not responsible for somebody else's development. As the adults in the situation, I deserved better than I received. I shouldn't have been hit. I don't care what society said was acceptable. I had welts on my butt. I did not deserve some of the treatments of punishment, like having my hands run under cold water, or being raged at, or being insulted, or being put down routinely, or being laughed at, or being thrown in my bedroom for hours, which was torturous for a young child who had been adopted. I wasn't responsible for those things. Their own trauma, my mother's own trauma, was passed down from generation to generation. And I had empathy for her most of my life, that she had some most likely very horrific things happen to her as well. And I tried, like most of us do, is we try and we keep trying and we keep trying. And that looks like us morphing and tolerating and twisting ourselves and drinking down the pain and smoking away to self-soothe and taking pharmaceuticals because we're so depressed, or being so vastly overweight to compensate, to help us feel grounded, and help us through food to soothe, to comfort. There are so many ways in which trauma manifests, and when family denies that, it's a level of cruelty that few people can comprehend. The truth is the truth, whether people want to hear it or not. And people don't. People don't want to hear the truth. If there is a choice between a very convenient lie, concocted reality, gaslit bullshittery, versus the cold hard truth, people won't choose the truth. And those that finally say, I'm not tolerating this anymore because it's cruel and hurtful and abusive are the ones that suffer an additional for being rejected or having to basically deject themselves out of an entire structure that is supposed to be a structure of support, belonging, and care and compassion. It's supposed to be the soft place to land. The world is harsh enough that family is supposed to be the soft place to land. It's not supposed to be the hard place that makes the world seem softer in comparison. That's so backwards, it's not even funny. And that's what's wrong with society on so many levels, is there's no soft place to land. Where is the soft place to land? You spend your life trying to stay alive, and that's a struggle that people who don't suffer from severe depression or struggle with other requirements for pharmaceuticals or self-medicating or self-soothing can't possibly fathom, that this is survival. This is survival. And so much of your time and energy is put into just surviving, because there's no soft place to land. And then we go out and we try to create soft spots for ourselves. And unfortunately, reenactment abuse is beyond common, but nobody associates. Well, why would you land up marrying such a toxic, abusive, narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic, sadist, what is it you want to call them? Somebody that can look you in your face and say, I love you. I want to take care of you. I want to care for you. And then manipulate you, lie, use reactionary abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, adultery, fuck with your head so severely, and use your childhood wounds, use those as the entry point to completely and utterly attempt to destroy you. If you didn't have those wounds in the first place, a person like that wouldn't get into your sphere, because you would not be in a constant state of survival. You would have had the building blocks required so that you could be an independent and stable individual. The fact that society has the population, around 70% of the population, requiring pharmaceuticals on some level to keep themselves alive. And I'm not talking about, but it should be included into the mix. I was about to say, I'm not talking about metformin for diabetes, but it should be included into the mix, because people wouldn't develop at such young age so many illnesses and so many sicknesses if society wasn't sick. And within the society being sick is family being sick. If you look around at how everything is just collapsing, it's because there's been this deluded illusion called everything's fine. everything's great. Let's just glaze over everything. Let's glaze over family. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Look, we're having a beautiful family dinner. Meanwhile, Uncle Bob is sucking back booze, and Aunt Sally is in the bathroom texting her lover, and Cousin Billy is out back smoking dope, and, you know, the list goes on and on. It's not all fine. Let's stop pretending that everything is all fine. Everything is glazed over and played make-believe, and it's the pretense of it all is nonsense. The Norman Rockwell view of the world is no longer. It's only in exposing the truth is things going to change. You cannot change what you don't acknowledge. The problem within the family, it goes out into society and goes out even further into like cultural war. Humanity is so completely and utterly like, what? When are we going to stop calling everything fine? I don't even want to list all the things that are not fine. It's not fine that we're killing each other. It's not fine that we're have networks of sick individuals that's being exposed finally, and that's like the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even begun to really identify these giant networks that are doing sick, disgusting things to children and people. The human trafficking problem. Can we talk about that? Is that fine? What were the environmental devastations? Is that fine? It is all of the abuses that are happening constantly, the economic disparities, the racial conflicts, the man versus woman, the just divide and conquer. Nobody is fine. Nobody is fine. So while people today might be enjoying these pristine moments with perfect cutlery set at the table and place settings pushed just perfectly with names written in scroll, it's a delusion. It's a delusion. What is real is a society that is in a state of crumble because nothing is as it appears. Underneath the mistletoe is perhaps a stolen moment where we're really living our lives in absolute denial. The denial is ceasing to exist as the veil thins and people wake up to the reality that nothing is fine. Society has never been not fine, not more fine than we are right now. More not fine. It's crazy to me. We are a society of lonely, isolated, wounded, traumatized humans who have perpetuated hurts and cruelties onto each other and hid behind masks of the nice guy or the nice girl shown up preparing these beautifully concocted scenarios that aren't real. They're not real. When we start to really identify what is real and honor those that are spoken the truth, show some compassion to those that hurt. And we're talking about millions and billions of people that have suffered one way or another. The degree of suffering is just shocking. It's just shocking to me, the degree of suffering that we continually deny, because we have to be always pretending everything is okay. Always pretending everything is a picture moment. And I think it's a perfect day to call this out. Because Jesus, those that follow the teachings of Jesus, and I mean actually follow the teachings, because he was trying to teach us. Buddha was trying to teach us. Gandhi was trying to teach us. Mohammed was trying to teach us. Even Princess Diana was trying to teach us. But we didn't listen. Let's hope that some are starting to listen now. Those of us that are going through this incredible awakening are definitely listening now. And I do hope, as prophesied, that this awakening becomes a mass event of conscious evolution. Because, man, do we need to evolve. Peace out.